Welcome back to the Circuit Zolder. Welcome to the first of two Euro NASCAR races in the Pro Division. This is the NASCAR Euro Series Finals. This is how the championship is decided in 2025 in Pro. It's a three-way battle for glory, and it's a battle that will take place on one of our usually very most action-packed battlefields. So then the drivers are down there at the moment among a huge quota of fans. As you can see, the ever popular pre-race grid walk is taking place. For all the drivers, they always make sure they put an effort in to make the fans happy, make them smile, make sure everyone's having a good time. But especially at the front of the order, especially in the championship battle, there is going to be an even greater level of laser focus. They are going to be fully focusing on the battle ahead. The championship is decided in the double points playoffs, the finals of which are this weekend. And certainly here in the Pro Division, it's a very close championship battle.
For more than a decade, the sacred lands of Zolder have been hosting the pinnacle of NASCAR in Europe. Legends have risen. Heroes have fallen. Friends and foes meet here again. But only one driver can raise the trophy. There can be only one NASCAR Euro Series champion.
The championship leader, Vittorio Garelli, this weekend has started at the best possible way with a pole position. He is there on pole, but alongside him is Paul Dufresne.
Yeah, Paul is not on pole, but sorry for that little joke, but there's something coming on our Instagram channel. I think you have a really good support fans here, right?
Yeah.
How does it feel like?
It feels really great. It gives me some strength for the start, so hopefully I can be P1 at the first turn and manage the race.
There's one thing I want to present right now. It's this beautiful piece we have right now here. It's a special watch from Daniel Strom from stormwatches.com. It goes to the driver with the most pole position starts. At the moment, it's the 24. You can tie him if you have the best race lap today. and then in the tiebreaker, it's your watch. Do you want it?
Of course, I want it. If I can win and start P1 tomorrow, it's the best operation possible. So yeah, we'll do it for the watch and for my championship.
That's the important thing. I'm going to close that because it's really, I don't want to destroy something. So about the championship, you're one of the 3 contenders. It's a 3-way battle. Everything is really tight, and we know exactly that turn 1 is always going to be a crucial part of the race. How are you planning to win this championship?
I have nothing to lose compared to Vittorio, so I will use that. Of course, I want to be P1 at the exit of turn 1. And yeah, we manage all the championships to be there at this moment. So yeah, I think managing is not the proper choice to this race. We have to be in front. So yeah, I will put all in and I will see what Girelli does. And yeah, that's my strategy.
All right, thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Good luck. Have fun. Back to you, Adam.
Certainly must be a point of concern, though, for Dufro that Girelli managed to be almost 8/10 clear of him in qualifying. The 1-lap pace of that number 24, searingly impressive. We saw that Strom watch, of course, that's the Pole Award watch, which is a one-of-one unique piece, but we do have, of course, a wide range of watches available at stromwatches.com, who are giving us our countdown to command. And to Andre's point, of course, pole position awarded in qualifying on Saturday. On Sunday, it's based on your fastest lap in the race we're about to start here on Saturday. So Paul Dufro could tie it up and make it 4 poles each for Girelli and himself if things go to plan. These guys have it worked out, don't they? Working hard, maybe not. Playing some cards on top of their truck. Let's go down to Vittorio Girelli.
At the moment, Vittorio, this Storm Watch's beautiful piece is yours because you have 1 more pole position than Paul Dufro. If he wins the pole in this race with the fastest lap, you are tied in poles and he wins over the tiebreaker. But I think you want this, but also the big TJ trophy, right?
Yeah, I mean, the war is on, the battle is still long, so we did a very fantastic job in qualifying. It was really beautiful, but yeah, 2 long races, a lot to come, so keep our mindset, keep focused, do our job, and then we will make some calculations. For now, it's just flat out.
But will you be informed by your spotter, for example, about the best lap times? That you always say, all right, maybe somebody else is at the moment, Paul is maybe the one with the fastest lap time. Are you going then out there to try to push and get this pole position as well to get this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always push anyways. Not for the prize, but because I want the pole for tomorrow. But I mean, that's the goal, you know. So yeah, for sure we will push flat out.
All right, then good luck, grazie mille, have fun, and back to Adam.
Excellent stuff. Vittorio Girelli, laser focused. You remember Oschersleben, where he felt he was rather wronged on the Saturday and came in with that huge kind of chip on his shoulder, that determined streak going into Sunday. And he needs to carry that in, of course, to this championship decider where he leads by just 4 points over Paul Dufro. A very compelling run to the championship decider incoming on this Saturday. For Gianmarco Ercoli, 3rd in the championship, he's got some work to do from 8th on the grid. He's starting a bit deeper in the top 10, and a really interesting row number 2 as well, because we've got 2 youngsters in the form of Bruno Mulders starting from 3rd position for Team Blake-Molen and Garrett Lowe in 4th. Here's your championship standings then. To our point previously, Vittorio Girelli on 382 points, our championship leader over Paul Dufro. Then it's Gianmarco Ercoli 3rd in the standings, but 8th on the grid. Garrett Lowe in 4th. Thomas Chrysonis in 5th position. He, of course, is also the leader in the Open Division, which we'll see on track later on. Hezemans, Blake-Molen, Dubek, Siortzis and Capelli, your top 10. Paul Dufro leads in the Junior Trophy as well. He's clear of Garrett Lowe in that classification, and Claudio Remeggio Capelli rounding out the overall top 10, also our Challenger Trophy leader at the moment. Let's go down to Bruno Mulders on 3rd position on the grid.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bruno, another really good qualifying, strong pace. You're in the 2nd row. Circuit Zolder, almost a little bit maybe home race because it's close to the Netherlands. How do you feel?
Yeah, very confident from this position. I mean, this is a position where we can actually try something. And yeah, the pace is feeling very, very good, to be honest. I haven't raced there a lot before, but no, I found the track quite familiar already. And obviously it's quite close to home. Everything is almost flying distance, 5-6 hour drive, and this is just 2 hours from home, so that's really nice.
What about the whole development you made in this year? Because you started first year in auto racing, coming from karting, in one of those cars, no electronic helpers, just pure racing, V8, 5.7 liters, everything that's really tough to tame, but somehow you made it. How happy are you with the development?
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey the entire year. It's been great. We've been working so hard with the team to get everything together, a lot of data work as well, and just take everything step by step and keep improving really on those basics of driving. And no, we've been making a lot of progress. And at this point of the year, I'm really getting confident with the car and everything myself. So it makes it a lot easier for me as well mentally.
At this point of the year, as you said it, it's also my job to ask something. With this development, are there any plans already for 2026 to say, I want some gold, I want big trophies?
I'm not sure yet.
Not sure yet, okay. But I will keep digging, okay? All right, good luck, have fun, dankjewel. Back to you, Adam.
Thank you very much, Andre. Bruno Mulders then with a big opportunity from row 2 of the grid, the surging young Dutch talent for the Team Blake Molen squad. He's certainly turned a lot of heads this year and now can count himself as a NASCAR Euro Series race winner in the Open Division after that inaugural success in Oschersleben last month. As we said earlier on, he'll be joined by Garrett Lowe on that second row of the grid, the American from Promotion. Let's go back down now to the grid.
Yeah, I'm here with Garrett Lowe. I would like to say the dark horse in the championship, but let's say the dark zebra, right? You're fourth in the standings. You are fourth here today on the grid. If there's something happening to Girelli, Ercoli, Giuffreau, with double points on the line, there may be a little chance to join the championship battle. Do you think about that?
I do, and anything's possible once we drop the greens. So yeah, we have a chance. We're in the hunt. We are far back, but there's an opportunity. So I hope nobody's wrecking in front of us. But yeah, I mean it's been a long weekend. We really struggled in practice yesterday. Oh my goodness, we were chasing problem after problem. I think we finally got everything sorted. Didn't have warm up this morning before qualifying, and that was also rough on me. I barely made Super Pole. So, but yeah, we're coming back and try to go get this another podium.
Another new track for you, a really legendary track with Formula One races in the past, a really bright history. How is it to be here in the woods of Limburg?
It's actually really cool, and like we're staying right in this neat little town, and yeah, I mean it's really cool. I've obviously never been to Belgium. So far, really cool country. Maybe my favorite next to Germany. So yeah, it's been really cool, and obviously this track has a ton of history, and it's actually really fun in these cars. It's a lot of workload with the curbing and the chicanes, but a lot of fun.
All right, thank you so much. Good luck. And I just want to show something. Where's the zebra? I want to show the dark zebra. Here it is. All right.
Back Garrett Lowe in his real life and, of course, his esports activities.
No. Yes. No. Yes. No.
We'll see what Garrett Lowe can do. As he said, outside chance here. It would take issues for Girelli, for Giuffreau, possibly even for Ercoli as well, for a realistic shot for Garrett Lowe going into the decider on Sunday. But it's possible. Anything's possible in the NASCAR Euro Series, as we've seen many times previously. Of course, we've got some names that we haven't seen for a while on the grid this weekend as well. Mark Goosen starting from 11th place. How great to have the Goose back on the grid. Ryan Vargas back from his adventures in the ARCA Series in NASCAR Canada this year. He's running with the Marco Stipp Motorsport team. He'll be down in 16th as the race gets started. Really good to see some returning faces as well as some new faces. There's Thomas Toffel. He's 5th position on the grid for this one. He'll be starting on the front row in the Open Division race a little bit later on. So big day here for Toffel. He could be looking at double podiums potentially if he gets a good start here from 5th on the grid. Let's go down to Thomas Toffel now.
Thank you so much, Adam. Thomas, it seems like you have a really strong package here at Circuit Zolder. You were fast in Pro, you were fast in Open. So what's the secret?
There is no secret. Just a little bit more luck than the last weekend. And yeah, we find the pace since the beginning of the weekend. So it's the logical suite that we find this weekend.
In qualifying, you told me I have nothing to lose. I am not involved in the championship battle, but still there are big trophies to grab, trophies to lift. So what are your plans? You told me you want to win. Are you going all in?
Yeah, for me, no. I don't look about the trophy. I just want to make good result every race. So, yeah, the pro we will see because the pace in the front is really, really, really strong. But yeah, I concentrate about the open particularly. But yeah, if there is something to do and I feel that I have the pace, I will be there.
All right, then. Good luck. Have fun. Thank you so much. Back to you, Adam.
Thomas makes a good point there, that it does feel like he's had a disproportionate amount of bad luck this year, even though his pace has been strong. So let's hope that he can conclude his season with some good results. Of course, he is just in front on the grid there. Behind him on the fourth row of the grid of the driver that finally claimed his first win of the season last time. Liam Hezemans finally got on the winners column for the 2025 season last time out at the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben, and we can go and chat to him now.
It's a little bit more relaxing than the open race this time because you're not battling for the championship here, but in open, still a decent starting position. Your teammate Vittorio is leading the championship. Just give me your thoughts before this pro race.
Well, after Germany, you know, basically the championship run technically ended. We need a miracle to win. So, but I don't like to think like this because I don't want the others to think like this as well. So we will just do the race. I think towards the qualifying, towards the end, we finally fixed some things and we have a lap time that should not be for P4, but for the top 3. So I have, during the races, my pace has been better all season from Garrett and Bruno. So I will try to make a good start, maybe get those positions and have a top 3 finish. That is the goal for today. I don't want to interfere with the championship battle. I don't think it's right. I'm 50 points behind. So I will just try to be as close to the top as possible. And yeah, just to have a clear race and, you know, focus. Maybe do a good qualifying also for tomorrow. It would be nicer to start more in the front.
But also, is this also a little bit more track time and practice time to optimize the car for the Open? Because there it's about the championship.
Yeah, but I mean, it's more about the driving. You know, it's my first time fighting for the championship, and you know, I need to just keep my head calm. I think both cars of our team are in a very good spot for this weekend. So it's about not doing mistakes. You know, it took me a lot of time to put the lap time in the qualifying. So I just need to be more calm to keep the pace because I know what I have to do. It's all about, you know, putting the pieces together.
All right, then. Good luck. Have fun. Back to you, Adam.
Thomas Chrysonis rather than Liam Hezemans there, as I introed in. But great to hear from Thomas, who is currently the comfortable leader in the Open division of the NASCAR Euro Series, and of course has been really strong this year in the pro class as well. He even has, of course, taken wins this year, a singular win this year in the pro division too. The partnership with PK Carsport, the Belgian team, has really yielded some great results for Chrysonis this year. He's teammate to Vittorio Garelli, so I suspect that if he gets up there in amongst the battle at the front, he'll be looking to help the number 24 car. Let's go back down to Andre.
Gianmarco Ercoli next to me, one of our title contenders here. You know that Zolder can always cause drama, last-minute decisions. Remember your championship in 2023 here in the last minute. Not the best starting position for today, but still, what do you think makes it different that you will be the champion at the end of this weekend?
Yeah, for sure, not the best start of weekend for us. We know show the speed in the free practice, like in the qualifying, in the Super Bowl. The responsibility for sure is mine. I do 2 really bad laps, and I start in that position for that, for sure. The first one, I don't know if the car is regular because 8 tenths between the gap between the first and the second. I don't know. This isn't motorsport, but don't worry. We can accept this for now, but the 2 races are long. So if the first win in this mode, we can live win this mode. For me, it's a really shit the show of the first. But I think all the grid think my idea, but it's not easy to show. But for sure in qualifying, the first car isn't regular. I'm sure.
Technical inspection said something else, but yeah, back to you, Adam.
Some strong words there from Gianmarco Ercoli, some opinions being expressed there. He starts from row 4 of the grid then, in that number 11 car from Illumitech Racing, of course, the Canadian squad that's joined the NASCAR Euro Series for this year in partnership with the Italians at Cal Racing. And they, of course, claimed their first wins of the tenure in Euro NASCAR earlier in the season. Let's go down to Liam Hezemans on row 4 of the grid.
Liam, you're starting next to Gianmarco Ercoli, one of the championship contenders. We have Paul Geoffroy and Girelli in front. You're still battling for a good spot in the junior trophy at least. So what's the plan for you?
Well, I mean, after Oxford, our chances were a bit gone. So, well, we will just try to make the best out of it. I mean, normally we have a really decent race pace, so that should be fine. We saw it already the whole season, that race pace-wise was very good. Just qualifying, we struggle as usual. But no, so yeah, we made some adjustments to the car and hopefully it will work out, so all good. Oh, attends.
All right, that's it for me. I was not sure what you're doing. So, all right, thank you, Al, and good luck, have fun. Back to you, Adam. I will be joining you now in commentary.
Okay, thank you very much, Andre. We look forward to getting you up here into the box. We will soon, of course, be observing the national anthems of both the United States and Belgium in about 2 minutes' time. We look forward to that tradition, of course, to really celebrate the kind of unity of American-style racing with the NASCAR Euro Series and, of course, the home fans here at Zolder in Belgium. You see there Vittorio Girelli doing his warm-ups there at the very front of the grid, getting himself in the zone, getting ready to go racing. A determined man, the driver of that number 24. It was a dramatic performance in qualifying. To be almost 8/10 ahead of the ball was pretty impressive stuff. And we saw, actually, I think maybe a little bit of difficult conditions, I think, for many drivers in the pro qualifying earlier on, because we did actually see that the open pole time was quicker than second place in Superpole in the pro division. So the open division drivers were fairly fast this morning. I don't know whether maybe the pro guys got a little bit caught out with some gravel down or something like that in the Superpole where there's only 2 flying laps, but certainly it didn't seem to affect Vittorio Girelli with a new track record with a 36.4, a hugely impressive lap of the Circuit Zolder. There's Bruno Mulders in the final moments of getting ready to go. His last weekend of his debut season in the NASCAR Euro Series. There are some very committed NASCAR fans. I reckon they both like car 24, although actually the Napa car these days is car number 9, isn't it? But Hendrick fans, all the same. Hopefully they like Hendricks Motorsport. Of course, our team here, the Dutch team in the NASCAR Euro Series. The national anthems are due to get underway here, so let's observe them.
Wie is de DJ dit weekend? Ah, voilà. We gaan nog eens proberen. De fanfare is in verlof. We gaan proberen een nieuwe mix te verzorgen voor later. Dat was een deel van het Belgische volkslied. Als u aan het meezingen was, onze excuses. Hè. We gaan dat straks wel in orde brengen, dat u uit volle borst de volledige tekst kan meezingen. Dat was het Amerikaanse volkslied en een hint van het Belgische volkslied. We tellen verder af, zo meteen om 14 uur. Niet de start van de wedstrijd.
So then, the drivers will now enter the final moments of preparation here for the race. You can see in the background there of that shot, Vittorio Garrelli now getting himself ready to go. The marshals are making their final checks on the racing surface as well. In 6.5 minutes, less than that, the command will be given, thanks to strongwatches.com, for the efforts on making sure we're up to date with how long we have left, and it isn't going to be long at all now before these cars fire into life and take on this impressive circuit at Zolder. The layout is ideally suited to the kind of racing we have in Euro NASCAR. Lots of braking zones which provide great opportunity, lots of curbs for the drivers to really get stuck in and bounce over. It is a very exciting place to watch these cars race, and we look forward to getting this one underway in less than 6 minutes time. We have, of course, as usual, got a Grand Marshal who will give us the command to fire the engines up, and this time it's actually going to be a former race director for the NASCAR Euro Series in Philippe Gaudet, still part of the motorsport community and indeed, of course, the Euro NASCAR family in broader terms. So then the festivities continue on, the cheerleaders hyping the fans up in advance of this race. Of course, the fans at the moment are making their way from the grid walk to the grandstands, picking their ideal place to watch on as this race is almost ready to get started. What's Paul Giuffreau going to be able to do then from the outside of the front row? I think that's going to be the big question. How much racing room is he going to receive on the run to turn 1, and indeed going through turn 1? It's quite easy to try and sweep around turn 1's outside line. There's usually some good grip to be found there, and there's a lot of curbing to use to try and find some space. However, there's also the possibility, shall we say, of some leaning. If Garrelli has that inside line, we suspect that he should be, at the very least, alongside Giuffreau at the approach to the first corner. We've seen title deciders here at Zolder get a little bit intense and more than a little physical in the past as well. Of course, this is only race 1 of 2, so perhaps some slightly more measured approaches, at least for this race. For Vittorio Garrelli, I think he will be keen to do whatever he can to preserve his car. I don't think he'll want to do anything to give the team too much to do down at PK Car Sport, and if you have a car that's 8/10 clear in qualifying, the last thing you want to do is damage it in wheel-to-wheel racing. Certainly, he'll be hoping that that qualifying pace translates to race pace, and indeed that the tyres stay underneath him for the duration of this race. Of course, the Hoosier tyres on the cars now down there on the grid are the same Hoosier tyres that ran in qualifying, and they'll run in race number 2 as well. So that means that tyre preservation is a key factor. So it's all well and good having one lap pace, but if you've got a setup or suspension geometry that quickly wears one shoulder of the tyre or something like that, sooner rather than later it's going to work to play against you. They've just found out they're making a cameo. Hello guys, how are you? Hope you're enjoying the view from the balcony as the drivers are now in the cars ready to go. They'll be finger on the button in just a few moments to fire these engines into life here in the NASCAR Euro Series. Paul Giffreau for RDV competition then on the outside of the front row. For PK Car Sport, of course, the home team, Belgian's own PK Car Sport, with the Italian Vittorio Garelli at the wheel. There's some of our marshals tuning in, watching on. Of course, there'll be eyes on the track in a few moments when we get rolling on this formation lap. The championship battle on the front row is an interesting one for sure, but I do think there's a chance that our race winner comes from further back in this one. Looking at the young talents like Mulders and Lowe, who are so keen to make an impression. And of course, there's no better time to try and secure your funding for 2026 than at the finale in 2025. If Mulders or Lowe, or even someone like Toffel or Chrysonis, if they can get a good showing in this race, then that's the perfect thing to show to your partners, your sponsors, but even potential sponsors going into the new season. We have some great onboard shots for this race as well. You see there we're on board with Thomas Chrysonis in the number 13 car, the sister PK Car Sport entry to the number 24 on pole, and indeed we've got some views from Liam Hezemans as well in the number 30 car. We'll see what he can do from 7th on the grid. We're into the final minute then before the engines fire into life here at the Circuit Zolder. It will be a thrilling race, I am sure. And let's go down to the grid. I think we might be a little bit early to that, actually. But 18 laps of racing. We're going to get the engines fired into life in 30 seconds. Let's hear the most famous words in motorsport in 10 seconds' time.
Drivers, start your engine.
Our thanks to Grand Marshal Philippe Godet for his introduction and getting those engines fired into life. We are now ready to go racing at Zolder. The grid clears, the engines are fired into life. We've got some returning faces, we've got some new faces on the grid. As is often the case for the finale, we tend to have some very strong grids here. But all eyes on the front row. Giffreau versus Garelli. Garelli coming out of qualifying with a lot of momentum, Andre Viegold. But now, race pace is on the mind. The first corner is on the mind. And that side-by-side run out of the final turn towards the first corner, I think there's going to be some fireworks.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Adam. Yeah, we're ready for the NASCAR Euro Series Finals, the last 4 races of this 2025 season. And to be honest, I can really feel the tension. We have a 3-way battle in the pro division with Garelli, with Giffreau, and also Gianmarco Ercoli. And you heard the controversial interview we had with Gianmarco, who accused that the 24 car is not legal. To be honest, Adam, in my life in motorsports, every time I get a Euro for that phrase, I think I could spend a nice summer somewhere. But here now we have the starting grid.
Yes, indeed. Vittorio Garelli and Paul Giffreau on the front row of the grid. Garelli, of course, will have the inside line for turn 1. Bruno Mulders and Garrett Lowe on row 2 of the grid. On row 3, it is Thomas Toffel and Thomas Chrysonis. They'll be starting side by side later on in the open race as well. Liam Hezemans and Gianmarco Ercoli on row number 4. Row 5, Fabrizio Armetta and Julian Reberg with a nice top 10 start. That will serve him well potentially in this race. He'll be looking to move forward. Welcome back to Mark Goossens. He's 11th alongside Sebastian Blaker-Molen. Number 13 on the grid is held by David Kajaya in the Team Georgia by RDV machine. In 14th place it is Vladimir Osiortis. Martin Dubek will line up 15th alongside the returning Ryan Vargas. The debuting Chase Fernandez is next. He was at the British F4 season finale a week ago. driving something a little bit different today. Giorgio Maggi in 18th, Massimilio Lanza in 19th, Jack Davidson rounding out the top 20 ahead of Capelli, Elso, returning Yevgen Sokolovsky, Igor Stefanovsky and Federico Monti. 25 cars set to take the start, but there are two cars at the front of the field of particular interest here. Paul Giuffreau will be hoping against hope that he can get a good launch and maybe try and claim that first corner for his own, but Garrelli has the inside line. What can Ercoli do from 8th on the grid? He's clearly a little bit frustrated one way or the other. That qualifying performance wasn't really what he needed, being 3rd in the championship and a little bit back behind both Garrelli and Giuffreau. Of course, if Giuffreau wins this race, he will become the championship leader with 80 points for a win, 70 for second place. He will be all too aware of just how valuable a win would be here.
Yeah, definitely. And they're going now into the 2x2 formation. We are just seconds away from the start for the first final round of the 2025 season here at Circuit Zolder. The first turn will be crucial for sure. If everybody makes it through that turn, yeah, I would say it's almost a miracle, because we saw it in the past. And also, Gianmarco, you told he's in a bad position, but remember 2023, he was there and had no hope against Luca Lasser, but in the last minute, he somehow claimed the title. So maybe we have some drama coming up. They are now going through the last chicane, then onto the start-finish straight, and then we are heading into the Whelen Engineering start zone.
Exactly, into the wheel and start zone we go. We are going to go racing. Nothing is ever predictable in the playoffs in the NASCAR Euro Series, but it is a great launch from Vittorio Garrelli, perhaps as scheduled. Oh no, Bruno Mulders loses it into the first corner. He's collected Paul Giuffreau, and that's a huge twist in the tail of this championship. The car was snapping wildly in the braking zone. Giuffreau must have damage. That looks like a tyre down. In fact, it's a suspension damage for Paul Giuffreau. That toe link is broken. That race hope is over for Paul Giuffreau. A huge, huge drama. Garrett Lowe off the circuit as well. And look who's up to 3rd place behind Thomas Toffel in 2nd. Gianmarco Ercoli rises to the occasion and avoids the drama. He runs 3rd place. There's a lot of damaged cars all through the field. You can see Martin Dubeck has some damage, and that's making his car limp. But Vittorio Garrelli, one of very few at the front of the field to get away unscathed.
But I think there was a contact forcing Bruno Mulders into the 3 car, and here we have Paul Giuffreau. Is that the end of his championship dream? The number 3 of RDV competition, suspension damage on the left rear. So this is the first drama. I told you, Adam, it's a miracle if we go into turn 1 without any incident, and it happened to one of our championship leaders. They are now in the last chicane, coming back to the start-finish straight. We have Vittorio Garrelli leading, but now we see it again. Who was behind Bruno Mulders? Thomas Toffel and also Liam Hezemans.
Yeah, I think you're right that he did get a bit of help there, certainly. We also saw Federico Monti in the wall on the approach to Boulderberg box as well. So I think there may have been a drama for Federico Monti just before we cut to that replay. But we'll keep an eye on that. And indeed, full course yellow is out on the circuit, and I suspect that is because of the number 1 car of Monti, and possibly as well for Paul Giuffreau, whose race is over, whose championship hopes have very quickly ebbed to almost nothing, and he'll be very frustrated right now. I don't know who he'll be airing his frustrations towards. But to your point, Andre, I don't think Bruno Mulders is necessarily the guilty party here. He was seemingly tagged and tried everything he could to keep the car under control. Let's run you through the order then. The top 10, a little bit different than what we were expecting. Garrelli, the leader, Toffel 2nd, Gianmarco Ercoli in 3rd, Hezemans 4th, Reberg in 5th, Cressonis in 6th position, Fabrizio Armetta in 7th place. In 8th position, Sebastian Blekemolen. Mark Goossens runs 9th, and David Kajaya runs in 10th place. drivers that have come into the pit lane, Dubeck and Mulders, drivers who haven't made it to the end of the first lap, this man Paul Giuffreau and Federico Monti. Garrett Lowe has continued on. His car didn't receive any contact per se, he just had to take evasive action in the gravel. He crossed the line in 19th position. We see Martin Dubeck heading back out onto the track. I think he may have just had a puncture, but he's back out now onto the circuit, and he'll be disappointed all the same to have had a dramatic first lap of the race. Full course yellow conditions then. They're idling their way around the circuit at a controlled pace, and we'll see what goes from there. Sometimes we end up with a virtual safety car to bunch the field back up before we go back to racing. But for Bruno Mulders, it appears to be the end of his race. And of course, now the clock is ticking to get that number 72 car ready to go in the open division later on.
Yeah, we have to see what the race control is now deciding on the restart, if we go back to green under full course yellow or if we have a virtual safety car. But there's a lot of dreams shattered at the moment. I think Bruno Mulders, he had big dreams of getting a pro podium. He had a really strong pace in qualifying. He's out of the car. And of course, Paul Giuffreau, one of our championship contenders, out of the race. It wasn't in his sense. Here we have the number 3 car of ADV competition. It's such a pity for Paul Giuffreau because in the end he didn't make a mistake. Something happened behind him, he got tagged, and in the end the suspension broke. So this is a big chance for Vittorio Girelli, but with Gianmarco Ercoli coming from 8th to 3rd, this is also a big chance for the number 11 Alumitech Racing Ford to gain some ground in the championship and maybe stay at the back bumper of Girelli before the final race of the season, Adam. I think this was not the last chapter of this championship battle.
No, I think you're correct. I think it's still being written at the moment, and we will see quite what's going to go on here. After investigation, start is okay. Reads the latest bulletin from race control, so they're happy that everyone was in formation as the race launched into life. So Girelli leading the field behind the safety car for now. I suspect we will have a couple of laps under safety car. As you saw, they're having to deploy a flatbed, and of course it takes a little while to hustle a 1250 kilo stock car machine onto a flatbed surface. To give you an idea, though, of that statistic, the weight of these cars. We often talk about these cars being quite light by stock car standards. Of course, they have a little bit less top-end horsepower, but they've also got a lot less weight to shift around the circuit. If you look at something like a outgoing generation BMW M2 race car, factory built, they're over 1,400 kilos. So it's incredible just how light these NASCAR Euro Series machines are. Of course, that's in part thanks to the tube frame construction of a stock car, but they are very nimble little machines. You see there the recovery vehicles down at Boulderberg for Federico Monti. We hope he's all right. But Vittorio Girelli, for now, I think, to your point, Andre, regarding the championship battle not being over, he'll almost be kind of looking past Thomas Toffel in a way. He'll be very aware that Toffel is his closest competition, sat there in second place, but it's the X factor of Ercoli, just sat there waiting, watching with bated breath for the next move. I think Ercoli came into this race with an amount of frustration, as we kind of heard from him on the grid, and he is going to be very keen to, perhaps by any means necessary, continue to move up the field and continue to score big points here in a championship battle where he is very much the underdog.
Yeah, definitely, and we have another information. Race Control found the guilty person. They gave Thomas Toffel 2 30 seconds penalty. They sum up to 60 seconds in the end for a avoidable collision. So Thomas Toffel made responsible for the contact with Bruno Mulders and then, of course, Paul Giuffreau. So virtually, Gianmarco Ercoli is already in second place. But the thing is, at the moment, Vittorio Girelli can use Thomas Toffel a little bit as a bumper between himself and Ercoli. And we know that Girelli and Toffel are really good friends. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if he's running in second place, I think they're going to get a replay actually, so we'll get to that in a second. But keep an eye on your far right of screen where we're going to get a look at what happened with Federico Monti. Oh, I think he'd already found the outside and the wall on the right-hand side of the circuit and then bounced across to the left where the car ended up resting. And I think maybe there was a little bit of contact there as well, but certainly Federico Monti having a wild ride there on the approach to Boulderberg on his first lap of the race. What I was going to say previously regarding Thomas Toffel, yes, of course, adding penalties to race times is fairly standard practice. It makes a lot of sense to do so, but surely this early in the race where we've got 15 laps to go, would it not make more sense to give a drive-through so that he's not in the way of the battle for the actual positions? Just a thought that crosses my mind, but either way, he's second for now, but a minute of penalties to contend with. That's going to be such a horrible message to receive on the radio, isn't it? Just that your race is effectively done for the day. Best case scenario, he might get a top 20 finish. That's about the best he can hope for. That's certainly not what Toffel would be hoping after starting 5th on the grid.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is also now Toffel still plays a factor, of course. Even if he has the penalty, he's in between two cars battling for the championship. So I'm really keen to see what Toffel is doing. Before the race, in the interviews, he said he doesn't want to be involved in the championship battle. Now with the knowledge of having a penalty, let's see how he's behaving. Maybe he even says, okay guys, I don't want to be part of this. Maybe he'll even let Ercoli through. The thing is, Adam, now, and this is a really interesting discussion in my opinion, if you have a drive-through penalty, he would be gone. Now we have the time penalty, but if we would let Ercoli go through to not be involved in this championship battle, is this also the right thing to do? Because basically, despite the time penalty, he has the right to be where he is.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. Ercoli will certainly be hoping that Toffel sticks to that implication of what he said to you earlier on, that he gets allowed through. But I don't know, I don't see that necessarily happening. We'll have to keep an eye on what Toffel does off the restart for Gianmarco Ercoli. Regardless of whether Toffel lets him through or not, his eyes are going to be so very focused on the boot lid of that number 24 car when the racing resumes to see what Garrett does. It was going to be very interesting in the early laps to see how Garret's race pace matched up to his incredible qualifying dominance earlier on. Of course, we haven't really had the luxury of seeing how that car now performs in race conditions yet, but to me that's one of the biggest question marks, and perhaps a source of some hope right now for the likes of Ercoli, is we still don't really know what Garret's car can do in race pace. But I think anyone further behind, or anyone behind that number 24 car, will be hoping, oh, I hope it was just a qualifying setup. I hope this car isn't quite so dominant in the race, because it looks so strong. 8/10 clear in qualifying, almost unheard of. Restart will be 2x2 is the bulletin from race control. Now that means things are going to be very interesting. That means that Gianmarco Ercoli is going to stack up behind the number 24 as we go back to green flag. That is a very interesting situation. Well, as that bulletin came in, as we also saw the bulletin that the race will be extended by 3 laps, Andre, I'm going to suggest that the fans in the main grandstand are going to get their money's worth here.
Yeah, definitely. We have, I think, all the ingredients right now for a very spectacular restart here. We have still a really long race distance, and we have the best starting formation we can get out of NASCAR. We go 2x2. We know that race control sometimes opt to go single file for safety reasons, but this time in the championship battle, it's 2x2, and in my opinion, it's the right decision to go 2x2 here. And with Garrett and Ercoli right behind each other, Toffel on the other side during the start, man, all the ingredients are there for another twist and turn in the championship battle.
Very much so. To your point, regarding the 2x2 start as well. I think, circuits like Most, where it's so tight through the first couple of corners, it makes a lot of sense to go single file. But here at Zolder, the first corner, there's room. You could run 3 wide if you were particularly compliant and careful with your fellow competitors. So 2x2 rolling start, absolutely, let's do it. Garrett and Toffel then will be the front row of the restart. It'll be Ercoli and Hezemans behind, then Julian Reberg, who's jumped up from 10th on the grid to 5th position, with Thomas Grasonis, Armetta and Blakemolen, Goosens and Kajaya will round out the top 10 as we go back to racing conditions. The safety car peels in. They're in 2x2 formation. The next task as Toffel comes into the pit lane. Thomas Toffel comes into the pits. Is he trying to stay out of the way of everything else going on? Maybe so. Either way, the Wieland's restart zone awaits. We are back to racing conditions in the NASCAR Euro Series Pro Division. Look at Ercoli behind Garrett. He's close, he's not quite making contact with Vittorio, but he gets through into second place with no Thomas Toffel to be found. Our 2 contenders in the championship now, with Paul Giffreau watching on from the spectator banks. The 2 primary contenders, at the very least, are running 1-2, and it's Garrett from Ercoli at the front. Ercoli with the bit between his teeth, with the chip on his shoulder. He is looking to move into this race lead if he possibly can. A penalty for Garrett Lowe for being a factor in the battle in the early contacts there. That was a 60-second penalty, I think I just saw for him. As we saw, Toffel, I think, has a problem because he's gone into the garage, but I wasn't expecting a penalty for Garrett Lowe. That's thrown me off a bit.
Yeah, me neither. I have no clue what happened there. Maybe we can find another look, but I already know that there's drone footage from this first lap incident, and of course on the NASCAR Euro Series channels we will post them later after the race, as soon as we have a little bit time to cut it right into the right format. So now we have 16 laps to go. Garrett and Ercoli first, second. I have to be honest, I thought that Ercoli would throw the bumper a little bit more aggressive into turn 1, but he stays calm. He stays at the back bumper of Garrett, Hezemans in third, and then take a look at who's in fourth. Here we have Julian Reberg in the 77 Motion car. Julian Reberg from Germany. This is one of his best performance, or the best performance so far in the Pro Division.
Race Control offering an update that the 99 of Garrett Lowe was the other party in the collision with Federico Monti, so that's why that penalty has taken place. Garrett Lowe was the one that tagged Monti, so that answers that question handily. To your point though, Julian Reberg, this is brilliant from the promotion number 77 driver. I understand the car was not really working with them on Friday. They didn't get many laps in with either Reberg or Happy Nessa, the Open Division driver. So seeing it up there in 4th place is absolutely fabulous. And look at that, side-by-side further back. That was Blakemolen and Armetta, I think it was, side-by-side for 6th position. And Blakemolen is still in 6th place, but Armetta tried to get through. He's now side-by-side in the back of shot with David Kajaya, as also involved is Mark Goosens, as well as Jack Davidson. And just outside the top 10, series debutant Chase Fernandez running in 11th position. His eyes are going to be wide open. The young F4 racer hasn't seen anything like this before. Perhaps in Ginetta Juniors he got a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing. In fact, I can confirm he did, but nothing quite like this. I'm sure he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, definitely. A very young guy, I think 16 years old. He's from Great Britain, so maybe you know a little bit more about him than I do. But it seems like he is a very talented driver, and he adapted really fast to be also quick in a NASCAR Euro Series car coming from open wheelers.
Yeah, exactly. Race winner in British F4 this year, and I got to commentate on him back in his Ginetta Juniors days, where he was a front runner in the same season as Freddie Slater, who's widely regarded to be Britain's next great Formula One hope. You see there Armetta with a good chunk of damage just ahead of David Kajaya. I don't know if that was maybe gained in the side-by-side of Sebastian Blakemolen. Didn't look like there was terribly much room to contend with as they ran down to this chicane a lap ago. Liam Hezemans having a look to the inside there of Gianmarco Ercoli as they came out of shot, and it is Hezemans through into second place. I was going to remark that Ercoli didn't look like he had the pace. He was falling back from Gianmarco Ercoli, but now he's under pressure from Rehberg as well. Rehberg is right there behind him. Hezemans has gotten through. This is not the race that Gianmarco Ercoli needed. He has got himself up the order, yes, but now he's starting to lose places once again.
Yeah, and this is a wide open door now for Vittorio Girelli to extend his championship lead in the first of two finals in the Pro Division, because Gianmarco Ercoli just doesn't have the pace to be fast enough to compete with Girelli, and he's now losing position, and therefore points. With double points on the line, every position is 2 points that he loses to Girelli, and therefore Ercoli really needs to find something with Alumitech Racing, with the technical partner Carl Racing, to make this Ford Mustang quicker to have a shot at the championship.
Yeah, no, Ercoli is going to be scratching his head, wondering what he needs to do. Rehberg holding strong there in 4th place ahead of Chrysonis, then Blake Imolen running lonely in 6th position for the time being. Chrysonis now trying to maybe try and find a way past Rehberg. He's fairly close behind as they run towards turn 4. The chicane is the next real overtaking opportunity, the next obvious overtaking opportunity anyway. He'll be looking for a good run here down the back straight as they go past the back of the paddock, and Chrysonis does have a wee look to the inside. But what's concerning me again, Ercoli falling off Hezemans and really kind of into the clutches here of both Rehberg and Chrysonis. Every position lost, of course, is worth 2 points in the double points format, and every position that Ercoli loses means a bigger cushion for Girelli and another finger perhaps on that championship trophy.
Yeah, and there's also one decision already. You know that I showed the Strom watch earlier during the interviews with Paul Jouffreau not able to post a fast lap here. This watch should now go to Vittorio Girelli, because there's nobody on running at the moment that can overtake him or tie him in pole starts. So whoever is going to win the pole with the best lap, it doesn't matter. Girelli will win the first ever NASCAR Euro Series Strom watch as an award here at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's a big bow for Girelli, of course, our defending champion, largely focusing on getting a second consecutive title, but that will mean a lot to him. The ultimate proof that you're the fastest driver in the series is receiving that StromWatches.com black timepiece to show that you are the driver with the most pole awards of the season. There's the 11 car, Gianmarco Ercoli, just slightly clear of Rehberg for now. Rehberg, though, with mirrors full of the number 13 car. And looking to the inside, not close enough for the time being. Things have settled down a little bit here in this battle for 3rd place, but I think Ercoli is going to be more and more frustrated at the wheel of that 11 car, because he'll be seesawing away, trying to work out what he can do, maybe trying to change what little he can in the cockpit of the car. But we watch on with interest as the Alumitech driver continues to defend for 3rd position. Rehberg being slightly distracted, I think, from the task at hand of trying to get a podium. But wouldn't it be incredible to see the number 77 on the podium for promotion, to have the 77 car up there, to have Julian Rehberg improving, and it paying off with an overall podium? That would be a huge confidence boost for the entire team, let alone Julian.
Yeah, definitely. And this is also one of those young guns in the NASCAR Euro Series. He's developing, he's making his way. He was really strong in his debut year in the Open Division. He stepped up to Pro, sharing the car with Happy Nessa. And yeah, it was a slow start for Julian Rehberg in the Pro Division, but step by step he got faster and faster. Here and there he had a little bit of problems, technical issues with the car, but it seems like today he has the pace and also the luck, and you need the luck. To finish in a good position, you have to finish, and he's there with a good qualifying position. He started 10th, now he's 4th, so whatever position is in the it's going to be in the end, even if he's 5th when Chrysonis makes a move. still, it's one of the best result in his career, and I think he will keep that momentum and use the momentum to make the next steps.
Vittorio Garelli with a 1:37.147 last time. That's the fastest lap of the race so far, so he's extending and building that gap at the front. If I were Vittorio, I'd maybe start to back out of it a little bit now to try and conserve those tyres. Of course, for Sunday, he's built himself almost 5 seconds of advantage over Hezemans in second place. And of course, 6.7 now clear of Ercoli in P3. Of course, the fastest lap of the race will be pole position for Sunday's race as well. Speaking of which, it is worth noting that Thomas Toffel is back on the circuit too. So Toffel will be one to keep an eye on in case he can get a fast lap and maybe recover a decent grid position for Sunday from this pro race, even though he is several laps down. We watch on then as Ribberg continues to feel the pressure. Ercoli's ever so slightly gapped this battle for third position for the time being, but it ebbs and flows seemingly based on how much defending Ribberg is having to do and perhaps how much pace is in Ercoli's car. Ercoli did just set his fastest lap of the race last time by, 1:38.243, which, yes, is some way off the pace of the car in the lead. However, it is a sign that the car is starting to come to Gianmarco Ercoli just a little bit as Chrysonis has a look to the inside line. It's the closest he's been into the first chicane. Oh, and they nearly touch if they didn't just slightly make glancing contact. Either way, Ribberg straight lines the chicane and Chrysonis loses a little handful of time in the process.
Yeah, that was a close call. They made contact, a little slight contact, and therefore Julian Ribberg had to cut the chicane. Let's see what race control thinks about that. But at the moment, he cleared a little bit the way of Chrysonis. So we see this is a nice battle. And Julian Ribberg, it's his first time in pro that he's so far in front. Let's talk a little bit about the German guy. Young guy, 18 years old, working with his father a lot. Thies Rehberg involved in Brimotion's team as well. The father basically owns the car, so they work a lot to have success in motorsports. He did a BMW racing before coming to the NASCAR Euro Series, and I talked to him a few minutes before the race, and he said to me, man, I'm working on 2026. Of course, it all depends on sponsors, partners and budget, but there's only one thing I would do in motorsports and I want to do in motorsports, and that's the NASCAR Euro Series. So he's really infected by this kind of racing, and I think that Julian Rehberg, if he's able to continue, if he finds the support he needs, is one of those guys who has the talent and also the dedication to be faster and faster, maybe at some point a contender for regular top 10 and top 5 finishes.
Yeah, absolutely the case, and showing some good racecraft at the moment, holding off Thomas Chrysonis, who's been a multi-time race winner this year in the Open Division, of course, also a winner in Pro here in the 2025 NASCAR Euro Series season. It's by far been Thomas Chrysonis' strongest year in the category, of course, now partnered with that Belgian team, PK Carsport, and it really does seem to have been the secret sauce for Chrysonis, that combination with Carsport, with the tutelage as well of Alan Day, as we ride on board with the number 13 on the brakes into the Boulderberg box for yet another time. We've still got 9 laps to go in this race, even though 12 have been completed. That's courtesy of the additional laps added to the race distance owing to the safety car. Well, that's going on. Claudio Remeggio Capelli is in the pit lane, so he's ended up in there, hopefully not with too big of an issue in the car. Thomas Toffel, meanwhile, has just set a 1:37.8 out there on circuit. That puts him well up the order in terms of fastest laps, as Chrysonis has a look to the inside line. He's got the inside line. Julian Ribberg gives him racing room, and Chrysonis surely has it done, or does he? Ribberg has a little look to the inside at turn 2, but he's going to have half an eye on Sebastian Bleekemolen, who's getting involved in this as well. Ribberg down to P5. Here comes Bleekemolen.
And one guy is taking advantage of those battles, and this is Gianmarco Ercoli. He doesn't have the best pace at the moment, but with Chrysonis Rehberg and Blekemolen fighting it out for 4th place at the moment. He's able to open the gap to 4th place and maintain this 3rd position. I want to talk about Thomas Krassones as well after this amazing move he made on Rehberg. He's, I think, one of the best examples in the NASCAR Euro Series, how you build a career. He joined the series back in 2017, I think, and the Greek youngster, he needed time. He needed to work really hard to prepare himself perfectly, find the right mentors, find the right partners. He's really good on the marketing side as well, not only strong on a racetrack, but it took him a lot of years to be competitive in Open and Pro, but he made it in the end to the top. And this is for me one of those examples. You cannot join the NASCAR Euro Series and think, hey, I'm going to beat all of them. It takes a lot of preparation, a lot of dedication to the series, and Thomas Krassones is one of those examples where you can see hard work pays off, and therefore, yeah, he deserves to be where he is in O-Pro and Open with this double program.
No, absolutely right. He's been having a fantastic season. Here's Vladimiros Siortsis challenging young Chase Fernandez, who's now up into the top 10 in 10th position. Jack Davidson dropped back a couple of places on the previous lap, so a good battle here. Fernandez using his racecraft that he's cultivated in the junior categories, be it the Ginettas, be it the F4 cars, and trying to apply it to the world of stock car racing. Here comes Davidson, here comes Dubek, both to the inside there of Siortsis. Siortsis has to yield there to Jack Davidson, who moves back up to P11. Oh, and a kick up of dust there from Vladimiros Siortsis. That will have raised the heartbeat just a little bit as side-by-side run Dubek and Siortsis through the chicane. It's always a bit tight through there. They can't go too wide realistically, and thankfully they do fall into single file. Of course, at the back of that queue as well, in 14th position, is Ryan Vargas on his return to the series, just behind Martin Dubek, running with Marco Stipp Motorsport. Great to see Vargas back in the series after his adventures in the NASCAR Canada Series this year. Also, we saw the number 77 of Rehberg, of course, crossing that chicane. No further action, no advantage gained is the perception on that from race control.
But
now, I think that Thomas Krassones being released by that battle a couple of laps ago is bad news for Ercoli, and we can see that very much so. Yes, it is. The gap is down 7/10 on the previous lap in favour of Krassones. Ercoli, in the last 6 laps of this race, is going to have to do a lot of work to hold off Krassones and take an overall podium.
Off screen, I could see that Rehberg again cut the chicane, and that opened the door for Sebastian Blekemolen to take over 5th place. So Rehberg is down to 6th. That just to not miss any information there. I saw it with my own eyes in the chicane. I'm luckily here at the grandstands and have an additional view on it. But you're totally right. Krassones is now on the back bumper of Gianmarco Ercoli, and he could help his teammate, PK Carsport teammate Vittorio Girelli, by stealing away 2 more points from Ercoli. This is going to be a very interesting battle. We are now 6 laps to go. I think with 3 laps to go, Adam, I will head down to Victory Lane to welcome our race winner and also do the interviews after this first final. So 3 more laps for me to watch, and I like the onboards.
Yeah, it's really good to have live onboards here with all Krassones watching Ercoli lock up there, under-rotating into the Boulderberg box, and of course flat-spotting a tyre potentially that he needs to use all through Sunday's race as well. If it's excessively damaged, he can swap it out for one of an approximate same age, but all the same, that's not what Ercoli needs, and Krassones will be sensing opportunity here for a podium. And of course, he's Vittorio Girelli's teammate. If ever there's time to be the Rubens Barrichello to Girelli's Michael Schumacher and do the team thing and move up and past Ercoli, it's right now. Maybe Kumpen will knock a few €1,000 off of the entry fee or the cost of running the car next year if he can help out Girelli in the championship charge by getting past Gianmarco Ercoli. The number 11 car will be made as wide as possible. Ercoli will be determined, but Krassones has great race pace. That much has been clear to see.
Yeah, it's an amazing battle. Krassones trying, looking to the inside, but he doesn't find any space to really attack Gianmarco Ercoli there. Ercoli not the best exit out of the chicane. And now they are on this roller coaster part of Circuit Zolder. It goes up and down, up and down. It's an amazing track in the woods of Limburg. And we see that Ercoli struggles a little bit to keep the line, to keep the best line here, the racing line. And Krassonis tries to find a way past the 11 car, but still he found no way. Here we can see the driver working, and this is Thomas Krassonis.
Yeah, Krassonis there shifting down. You see him pushing the lever forward, of course, on that sequential gearbox, which you have to pull towards you to shift up the box back towards 5th gear at the top of the rev range. Ercoli there defending the inside line as they approach the final chicane of the lap. Ercoli is really having to make that Illumitech Ford Mustang as wide as humanly possible. Look at Krassonis working away at the sequential shifter. I need to drive a sequential race car at some point in my life. It just looks so right watching them bounce down those gears in the braking zones. But Krassonis right on the bumper, turn 2, inside line beckons, but Ercoli carries all the speed. Is it too much speed through turn 2? No, he just about stays on the racetrack, but Krassonis is making life incredibly hard for the 2023 NASCAR Euro Series Pro Division champion, who wants to be the 2025 champion. But Garrett at the front has the race pace, has the command, and Ercoli is fighting just to stay on the podium. And of course, as these two continue to fight, you see that huge queue of cars. Blekemolen, Reberg, Armetta, Kajaya and Goosens are all right there. And I suspect that if these two start to go side by side, it's going to end up being, what, an 8-car battle? That's going to be crazy.
Yeah, definitely. And we also see David Kajaya there in a really good spot. Team Georgia back with Markus Stipp Motorsport as the technical partner in 8th place. This would be a really strong top 10 result. Also a big jump forward in the Challenger Trophy for Kajaya. Let's see where he's ending up at the end of this race. We have 4 laps to go, and we have still the number 13 car behind the 11. Can Gianmarco hold on to 3rd, or does Krassonis find a way past? I think that Vittorio Girelli is the race winner when there's nothing happening, technical issues or something like this, but on there's nobody matching his pace. Hezemans also really, really strong in 2nd place, but then 3rd place is still open, still a nice battle. And I will head down now to victory lane.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Andre, for joining us up here. We'll see you down in victory lane, where one suspects we know who we're going to see with you, but we'll have to wait and see for definitive confirmation. Vittorio Girelli leading by 8.1 seconds, a remarkable drive from the Italian racer. Hezemans running a strong 2nd place in what is his de facto home race, of course, the Dutch-based racer, racing alongside, of course, Hendricks Motorsport, the Dutch team that provides technical support to the Retty Jones Racing number 30 entry. For a lot of teams, they call the Netherlands or Belgium home. It is a home event for a great many here this weekend. Of course, one of the real hotbeds of the series is the Benelux region, as well as Italy, and we're delighted to be heading back to both areas at various points during the 2026 NASCAR Euro Series season. We run on board with the number 13. We're going to have 2 laps to go when they cross the line next time. Just 5 more miles there or thereabouts for Ercoli to deal with this pressure. For Girelli, I don't think he is feeling the pressure. I think for him, this at the moment feels like a test day. He's logged a good few laps here, of course, at PK Car Sports' home track over the years since he joined the team. But he's going to feel rather lonely, if anything, out there at the front, but he won't complain because he will be, of course, running to an easy maximum haul of points and taking a big step forward in the championship. Here comes Thomas Krassonis to the inside of Gianmarco Ercoli. They're bumper to bumper as they run through turns 2 and 3. This is for 3rd position. Sebastian Blekemolen not a million miles away either. I think he's going to get involved if Ercoli continues to defend. And what about Julian Reberg in P6 as well? Could this develop into a 4-car fight? Gianmarco Ercoli has had his elbows out for most of this race distance. One way or the other, he seems to have spent most of the time having to defend positions. Meanwhile, Bruno Mulders is back out on the circuit, running all the way down in 23rd, but of course he's looking for a quick lap now to set himself a good position in qualifying. Only a 38.2 so far, but we'll keep an eye on what he gets up to. Only a couple of laps for him to try and get a good time, as Ercoli defending massively into Boulderberg. Has he overshot the corner? No, he's got it perfectly parked on the apex. That hinders Chrysonis. Blakemolen is surely going to be right there with them as well. Keep an eye on the number 69 car too. They'll cross the line this time to start the final lap. Garelli's already onto the final lap of the motor race. Here comes that battle for third position, and it is now a four-car battle. Gianmarco Ercoli is certainly riding a wave at the moment. He's having to defend very hard to stay afloat in this situation. But an overall podium is a good result for him since he started 8th on the grid. Of course, he'll lose points to Garelli in the championship consideration, and that will be undisputed. It will be a gut punch for Ercoli, but if he can at least hold on, if he can at least get a podium, it will be some consolation for the Italian racer. Vittorio Garelli is home free at the front of the field. Hezemans is uncontested in second place, but Ercoli is feeling the pressure from Chrysonis, from Blakemolen, from Reberg. I have no doubt Chrysonis, a fair driver, a considered driver. He's not going to do anything too rash here to try and get past Gianmarco Ercoli, but he'd so love to make it 2 cars for PK Carsport on that overall podium at his team's home venue. Garelli will be running towards the final chicane at the moment, so it's critical that we see what happens with him as we approach the braking zone at Boulderberg. It looks like Ercoli has done enough. It's a decent run out of Boulderberg. But at the front of the field, coming through the final corner now, it will be Vittorio Garelli receiving the checkered flag and winning the race. He will have a big championship lead. A big day, an important day, and a hugely important result from PK Carsport and Vittorio Garelli. Hezemans takes second, Ercoli third place, Chrysonis and Blakemolen your top 5. Gianmarco Ercoli did well to hold on to that. CR Meta ended up losing his bonnet at one point, and unfortunately Chase Fernandez, who was doing a great job of holding on to 10th position, he has had a problem. Fernandez pulled over on the final lap, and Vladimiros Siortsis has ended up finishing in 10th place ahead of Martin Dubek in 11th. What a shame for Chase, who was having a great debut race in the NASCAR Euro Series. Hopefully we'll see that car back out with him tomorrow in the Pro Division, and of course in the Open Division it'll be Mikael Blakemolen driving that car. Hopefully they can get that sorted. But what a race, what a moment for Vittorio Garelli and PK Carsport. A race win there does a lot for their hopes in the championship. Garelli ahead of Retty Jones Racing's Liam Hezemans in second place. Gianmarco Ercoli in third position for Illumitech Racing. PK Carsport's Thomas Chrysonis finishes in fourth place ahead of Sebastian Blakemolen. Julian Reberg with a really strong sixth place finish after running in fourth a little bit earlier on. David Kajaya in seventh place, Fabrizio Armetta in eighth ahead of his club competition teammate for this weekend. Mark Goosens, the last minute addition to the entry list, and Vladimiros Siortsis rounding out the top 10 after an unfortunate end to the race for Chase Fernandez, who appears to have had a mechanical issue on the final lap. He had been running 10th to that point. You see there the tow signal given by the marshals. The rest of the field, 11th place Martin Dubek, 12th place for Jack Davidson, Ryan Vargas in 13th, Garrett Lowe in 14th, Giorgio Maggi 15th, Ulysse Delceau in 16th, Yevgen Sokolovsky in 17th, and Igor Stevanovsky rounding out those who completed the whole race. Chase Fernandez will be classified in 19th position, while Massimilio Lanza will be 20th, having made a late visit to the pits. Capelli, Toffel and Mulders, the rest of the classified finishers. Unfortunately for Paul Giuffreau, his championship hopes now lay almost dormant after starting from P2, being collected by Bruno Mulders, who was himself knocked into a sideways moment at the first corner by Thomas Toffel, and the net result of the contact between Mulders and Giuffreau was a tyre down, suspension damaged, and the end of the race before they even got to the end of the first lap. As Gerelli gets ready to climb from his car in victory lane, it's a big moment for him. His championship adversaries struggle while he climbs the mountain. He has not won the championship yet, but he's taken a massive step forward. And he goes to celebrate. From here, it's going to be a much more comfortable run. You hear the cheering for Vittorio Gerelli. Also worth noting that Julian Reberg's 6th place is his best, Kajaya's 7th position finish is his best finish of his career so far, which is great news for Kajaya. He's been on the ascendancy as the season has continued on. But let's go down now to a jubilant, I'm sure, a jubilant Vittorio Gerelli.
Vittorio, you made it to victory lane. Giuffreau was involved in an accident. Thomas Toffel got penalized for that. Gianmarco Ercoli hold on to 3rd position. I know it's early and something drivers don't want to hear, but you're at least in sight of the trophy.
Yeah, I mean, we did a fantastic job. The 24 was flying thanks to my team. You know, they gave me really a GT3. Like, it was so much grip. I could attack every corner, and yeah, after I built a good gap in the start, and I was managing the tires a bit for tomorrow. The paddle is still long. Everything can happen. We just have to stay focused. And yeah, we were the fastest last part of the season, so we deserved this win. We worked a lot, and we came back. So very happy. Big thanks to my sponsors, my family who's here, and yeah, let's get it done tomorrow.
I know you coming out of a car, out of the battle right now, but with this situation right now, do you already think about how to approach the race tomorrow?
I mean, we will go for, the win, a good job, and we will evaluate what the situation is with the points, taking no risks, but everything can happen. Last year, they pushed me off in turn 1, and I nearly got stuck in the gravel, so we just have to escape the start and then try to do a good result, and then, we will see. Let's get the ring.
All right, and now there's another winner sticker for you, and I have one more for you in the office. You get it, because there's one missing on your car, right?
Yeah, true. The Branzaccia incident, yeah, we had to replace all the cars, so yeah, I'm missing one. Thanks
you get
for
this.
That.
You get it.
Thanks for that.
All right, you're NASCAR Euro Series Pro race winner, Vittorio Gerelli. Back to you, Adam.
Yeah, what a great effort for Gerelli. And he will put the winner's sticker on his car, and he'll do so with a wry smile, knowing that he's several steps closer to the championship, not just because of his score, but because of the, frankly, lack of score for Paul Giuffreau. He will get some points as a race starter, if I understand correctly, but certainly a huge step back in the championship for Giuffreau. He'll fall behind Jimmy Ercoli, for sure, who will inherit 2nd place, but he'll be a long way back. I think it'll be 32 points back in second place in the standings. In fact, it might just be 30. In fact, as I speculate this, someone who's better at maths than me sends me a provisional point standings. It is 30 points. So Vittorio Garelli on 4.62 and Gianmarco Ercoli will be on 4.32. A 30-point advantage is certainly a big one. Here's the moment. The sticker onto the car. As we've seen, the stickers seem to be particularly hard to apply since we got to Autodrom Most. Maybe we had a supplier change, or we need to maybe reconsider. It's been a bit of a fight lately to get those stickers on the cars. But 30-point advantage for Garelli in the provisional standings over Ercoli is a big deal. Incidentally, Paul Giffreau will still be third in the points, but he's 52 points back now from Vittorio Garelli. Bear in mind, he was 4 points away from the championship lead at the start of the race. Crasonis fourth on 69 back on 393. Let's go down to David Kajaya in 7th overall.
Thank you so much, Adam. David, one of the best races so far in your NASCAR Euro Series career. You must be very happy, right?
Yeah, of course I'm happy. Thanks to Marco Strip Motorsport, they gave me a really good car. I had pace, and that's it. That's why I'm here. The car was perfect, the balance was perfect, everything went smooth. A little bit some messy first corner at the beginning, but I avoided everything, and at the end I finished P1 in my class, and I'm more than happy.
But this also shows the potential of you, the car, the team. What do you think it's going to happen tomorrow and maybe even next year?
Of course, we are working to improve. Also myself, also team works to improve themselves. And let's see. We always fight for the high points and high places. Let's see how it goes.
All right. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Back to you, Adam.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, great effort from David Kajaya, Challenger Trophy winner, 7th overall. That's a good day in the office for him. And as he alluded to, Marco Stipp Motorsport now backing that car again for Team Georgia. It was briefly an RDV run car, but now back with Marco Stipp as they've made their return to the series. Let's go back down to Victory Lane.
Rehberg, there's a bit of a party behind us, but I think you have also something to party. One of the best races so far in your pro career. A lot of battles. Sometimes you cut the chicane a little bit, but definitely one of the best runs you ever had, right?
Yeah, of course. I'm finally on the podium. I missed it so much. I'm so happy, but still a bit frustrated because I was faster in P5 and 6, but I did many mistakes in the race. I was a bit nervous, but maybe next time I will be better.
But still, qualifying Super Pole, first time ever, then also a top 10 result. You're on the Junior Trophy podium. This shows the potential, right?
Yeah, I'm super happy, super happy.
All right, congratulations. Vielen, vielen Dank. Back to you, Adam.
Julian Rehberg then, 3rd place on the Junior Trophy podium, as he was alluding to there, as well as 6th overall. So a really good performance in every regard for Julian Rehberg and the promotion 77 crew. Let's go down to Gianmarco Ercoli. Interested to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, I'm here with Gianmarco from 8th to 2nd to 3rd. A podium finish. At least you got some points, but still you doesn't look really happy. So can you tell me what's going on?
I'm not happy because we not fight to the same balance. So it's clear. 24 cars is not regular this weekend. It's clear. All the grid, all the drivers think that, but the recent one people who go to the steward for go to check very well the car is no good for this championship. Who one car go 1 second more fast than the other. The first play with all the other drivers, Me, Liam, Crasonis is to the same level. Okay, we can fight one position better than the other, but the first play with all the other drivers is not good for me, and there isn't respect for all the other drivers. So for you, if for you is normal this, okay. I know when I start from my home, this race is not easy because we fight in that house, okay? So If for all the others is good, I can see it, but I can't accept for my motorsport life.
All right, thank you so much. Very strong opinion here from Gianmarco Ercoli. Again, technical inspection after qualifying found nothing on the 24 car. That's a fact that I can tell you right now. We will see during the weekend what's going on. Still, congratulations for the podium.
Well, certainly Gianmarco Ercoli has a dyed-in-the-wool opinion there that he's not shy about telling us, and you can sympathise with his frustrations in a more broad sense. But as we've said, the car did pass inspection. We can go down now to, I think, Liam Hezemans.
I think we're already there, Liam. A really strong pace in the 30 car, second place in the end. You overtook Gianmarco, who struggled also in his car a little bit pace-wise. Nothing to beat the 24, but still a really decent result, right?
Yeah, no, it was really good. Well, congrats to Vittorio. Also, I mean, really unfortunate for Paul, because, I mean, he went out of the first lap and not by his fault. So, yeah, you know, that sucks a lot. But no, in general, I think I was very happy with the pace. Just we had way too high tire pressure. That's why in the beginning I could really attack also Gianmarco and stuff. Yeah, but just after I was really falling away like crazy. But well, congrats to Vittorio, and yeah, just really unfortunate also, you know, for Paul, because I mean he's a good friend of mine, so I hoped he could fight for the championship as well. But yeah, well, it's racing, right? So yeah, very good.
This also means this good position that you may move up a little bit in the order in the junior trophy. Do you think about that?
Yeah, of course. Well, that's possible maybe. Well, I don't know if Paul could do a lap or not at all, so I need to figure out, because he wasn't, of course, first in the championship, so that we need to figure out. But in general, I think it was, yeah, well, tomorrow we need to see. But if it goes the same way, maybe we still have a chance.
All right, then enjoy this moment first of all. Dankjewel. Back to you, Adam.
Meanwhile, thanks to Reza from the Euro NASCAR media team, who lets us know that 12th or better would clinch Vittorio Garelli the points lead as it stands. We're going to get another look here at the start of the race, and that collision there from Toffel to Mulders, and then Mulders into Dufro proved to be critical. And our thanks to the broader media video team for this drone shot here at the first corner, where we get a bit of a look there at what went down. That was from Chris O'Neill. Thanks, Chris, for the shot there. But unfortunately for Bruno Mulders, he was a passenger and collected Dufro, and I think we are going to go down now to Paul to get his reaction.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much that you're here, that you step in front of the camera after what happened in turn 1. Thomas Toffel pushed Bruno Mulders into your car. That was the end for you, and maybe also the end for the championship battle for yourself. Just tell me how you experienced this first lap incident.
I will not say bad words, and you can be sure it will be a lot of work from my side to not say that. But I mean, if I can be neutral, it's always the same guys that made that. He already done that a lot of time this year and the year past. To be honest, I don't understand how you can have that type of behavior, that much time, and be in a European Championship. You know, we are a professional driver. We have to learn from mistakes. He didn't. I mean, for me, the win of the championship is finished because I finished last. So if Vittorio is DNF tomorrow and I win, that's not possible. But even with that, he will be 4 points in front of me. So we have to not think about the championship. It's one of my toughest situations I ever had. So yeah, hard to hold my tears, to be honest. But yeah, we are a racing driver. We have to be professional. I wanted to thank Vittorio for the season we had. We really pushed each other to the limit, and I just wanted to say bravo to Liam, who made a really good race. So yeah, I just went there to that and to avoid to talk about the incident. But yeah, as you told me, it's my work, and yeah. So I think the podium started. So I will let you.
All right, but thank you so much, and a lot of respect that you stepped in front of the camera. Paul Dufro, now we take a look at the podium.
Yeah, let's go up there where we can see Ercoli and Hezemans already in the midst of celebrations. And Vittorio Garelli joins them now. A handshake between Ercoli and Garelli. And now national anthem for Vittorio.
Congratulations to Gianmarco Ercoli, to Liam Hezemans, and of course to our winner Vittorio Garelli. This is our top 3 for our pro race of today. And Jason Simmons.
Trophy presentation underway then, overall podium. Gianmarco Ercoli receives his trophy for 3rd position, a trophy that perhaps we weren't expecting him to have following the qualifying performance, but 3rd position well deserved, surviving all of the dramas early on. Liam Hezemans with that 2nd place trophy, but your winner Vittorio Garelli taking such a huge step forward in the championship today. Has a nice cushion to work with for the rest of the weekend. Jason Simmons from NASCAR International, who offered up those trophies to our top 3. And Liam says, let's spray some champagne. Gianmarco Ercoli perhaps just wants to drink alone. Get the top 3 up for some pictures potentially on the podium steps.
First of all, I'd like to ask you to raise your hands.
See that Hezemans with, of course, another podium. That'll be useful for him, as he said. Junior trophy still reachable from here. And it will be the junior trophy podium that is up next on the steps. It'll be Ribberg, Chrysonis, and junior trophy class winner Liam Hezemans up there as the top 3, and for Julian Ribberg, certainly that trophy podium meaning a lot to him, and running in the top 5 overall as well, a huge positive sign for the 77 promotion crew. Thomas Chrysonis with the 2nd step, of course. He'll be looking ahead to the open race a bit later on, which, as you can see, will be taking place at 16:35 local time. In just about 90 minutes we'll be live with that action. Jason Simmons of NASCAR International again presenting these trophies to the top 3. Double podium then for Hezemans. The top 3 pose on the top step for the pictures. One more presentation to come, and that is the Challenger Trophy. We'll see those 3 up in a minute. Max Lanza, Yevgen Sokolovsky, 2nd position on his return to the series, which is great news for him. But Max Lanza coming up to the podium for now. As Lanza up onto the third step. There's Yevgen Sokolovsky on his return to the series in his familiar golf livery race suit. But it's David Kajaya on the top step for Team Georgia, supported by Marco Stipp Motorsport. He seemed very pleased with the balance of his car in that interview that he had with Andre. I imagine he'll be saying, don't change anything. And he'll be saying to his teammate Sandro Tavat-Kalatsa, please keep the car in one piece in the open division race because it's handling sweet right now. And as the last podium ceremony of this race is complete, we can now take a little bit of a break and focus in our attentions on the open division, which will be racing in about 90 minutes time here at the Circuit Zolder, 16:35 local time here at the track. That is 10:35 for our friends in America. It's 3:35 for our friends across the channel in the UK. Make sure you don't miss it. We'll have more exciting racing from Zolder in the NASCAR Euro Series later on this afternoon.
In deze qualify om dan nog te kijken wie hier de snelste tijd gaat draaien. Maar het is vooral uitkijken naar die Audi RS3, de kampioen al gelauwerd in 2025. Verder grasduinen in de Club Challenge, daar zien we Dennis Schrooien voorlopig met de snelste tijd 1:50.94. En dat is het zo wat. Ah ja, Vincent Convents, niet te vergeten. Op de BMW E90 voorlopig daar de tweede tijd 1:50.823 ten opzichte van de 1:50.94 van Dennis Schrooien. Nog 35 minuten te gaan in deze toch wel lange kwalificatie voor de finale van de Belcar Endurance Championship.